Hello everyone, hope you're all doing great. I'm F. Perlin Rodrigues and let's continue with the poem What It's Like to Be Transgender by Lee McCobb. In the first part, we learned the biography of the poet Lee McCobb and we also started with our poem's first stanza, where we saw the poet says his prayer in the cathedral, in the church, even after the congregation, the gathering of people, a congregation has left. He traces the Holy Trinity by dipping both his hands, and he continues saying that he asked Jesus to fix him, to give an answer to the questions he had. But unfortunately, there was no answer, and he befriended the silence, thinking that that would help him burn the sins. But shame lingered than console. Later, his mother says that he is a miracle and he could choose to be either a boy or a girl. And we stopped where we saw that the poet says that he chose to be a boy. Okay, let's continue with the second stanza. So here is the second stanza. Let's continue reading and learning the poem. The winner to a game the other kids couldn't play. I was the mystery of an anatomy. A question asked but not answered. Tightroping between awkward boy and apologetic girl. And when I turned 12, the boy face wasn't deemed cute anymore. Here the poet says, the winner to a game the other kids couldn't play. He says that he was a winner of a game where other kids couldn't play. He means that he is the only one who is, or he says he's a transgender, and most of the other kids couldn't play that game of being a boy or a girl. That means he would choose to be a boy or a girl, and that game only he could play, and other kids couldn't enjoy playing that game. He says, I was the mystery of an anatomy. Mystery means a puzzle of anatomy. Anatomy, here what he means by that phrase, mystery of an anatomy, is that he doesn't have a fixed gender identity. So that he's neither a male nor a female. So that he was like a puzzle of an anatomy. A question asked but not answered. So there is a lot of question asked about him, but nobody can answer. So he says, a question asked but nobody could answer. Tightroping between awkward boy and apologetic girl. Tightroping means, this is what tightroping means. It is the performance on a tightrope. Here what it indicates is the identity crisis. He doesn't belong to, or he is biologically he's a girl, but he feels or he has this feeling of becoming a boy. Okay, so he's tightroping between a awkward boy and apologetic girl. Awkward boy because he is not completely boy. Apologetic is sorry or regretful girl. His body, his biological self is girl, but he wants to be a boy. So therefore, he's an awkwardly he is being presented as a boy. So he's tightroping. He is dancing between the choices. And when I turned 12, the boy face wasn't deemed cute anymore. So when he turned 12, when he was almost 12 years old, when his body or biologically he was almost looking like a female, then the phase where he was accepted as a boy started to end, or people started looking at him in a different eye. So that cute phase of acting like a boy ended, or people started asking him certain questions, why he's dressing in the same way, why he's acting like boy when he should walk or dress like a girl. Okay, so it was met with nostalgic aunts who missed seeing my knees in the shadow of skirts, who reminded me that my kind of attitude would never bring a husband home, that I exist for heterosexual marriage and childbearing. So he says that it was met with nostalgic aunts. So he says that aunts, that means the family members, relatives, and friends, they started asking him, and they missed seeing his knees. That means they missed seeing him in the girl dress, or in the way a girl should behave, okay, in the shadow of skirts, who reminded me that my kind of attitude, that if he is going to act like this again, if he is going to behave like a boy again, he would never be able to bring a husband home. If he starts wearing girl a dress, and if he starts behaving like girl only, he will be able to get a husband, and he will get into a marriage where heterosexual male and female will get married. So he could only, if he could start acting like a girl only, he'll be able to bring a husband and he will have a child, and he could have a child, it seems. This is all our expectations of the aunts, that means his relatives or the people around him. And I swallowed their insults along with their slurs. Naturally, I did not come out of the closet. So he says, I swallowed their insult along with their slurs. Slur is also again insult. Here, he swallowed it, he accepted or took it everything inside him and went into the closet. I naturally did not come outside the closet. Closet here, the word means, or what is noted here for the pun, and the literal closed room and the figural declaration of identity. So the both the way, okay. So he went inside the closet. The kids at my school opened it without my permission. The kids at my school means, he means that when he was in the school, people or the school children also insulted him. They opened it without my permission. They started insulting me or getting into his privacy and mocking him. Call me by a name I did not recognize, said lesbian. So he said that he was called by this name lesbian. Okay, that he did not recognize, he did not understand, or he doesn't belong to that part. But I was more boy than girl, more Ken than Barbie. He says that he was more like a boy than Barbie. He doesn't feel like a female. He doesn't accept himself in the lesbian category, but he was like more Ken than Barbie. Ken means here is a fictional, American fictional character. So Ken is actually the boyfriend of Barbie. So he identified himself as a more like Ken, it seems. So let's continue reading the next paragraph. It had nothing to do with hating my body. I just love it enough to let it go. I treated it like a house, and when your house is falling apart, you do not evacuate. You make it comfortable enough to house all your insides. You make it pretty enough to invite guests over. You make the floorboards strong enough to stand on. So, Poet continues to say, those insults, those insults from the relatives and from his school did not bother him too much, or did not make him hate his body. It had nothing to do with hating my body. He says he couldn't hate his body. I just love it. He just love his body enough to let it go. Enough. He just love himself so much that those insults and all, he let it go. He did not bother about those insults. I treated it like a house. He says he treated his body like a house. And when your house is falling apart, you do not evacuate. So he's trying to compare and say that he's seeing his body as a house, and if the house has some problem or it is going to fall apart, it has some damages, what you do? You cannot evacuate from your house. You cannot escape from your house. You make it comfortable enough to house all your insides. You will make yourself, or you will make the house good enough, comfortable enough, so that you can keep everything inside your items, your things inside. You make it pretty enough to invite guests over. You'll make your house good enough and look good enough so that you can invite the guest inside. So, and you'll also make your floorboards strong enough to stand on. Floorboards here mean that a long plank making up part of a wooden floor in a building. So the basement. So all these basement, you will make it strong. So if something happens to one's house, they will not just run away from the house, but they will try to make it, try to fix it. So in the same way, he says he sees his body like a house, and he is not trying to run away. He's not trying to escape from his body. So it shows that he's accepting his body, even though the people around him is not accepting him, okay, even though they mock and insult him, but he is happy with what he is, and he has an idea that he's more like Ken than Barbie. He's more like girl. sorry, he's more like boy than a girl, and he's accepting it. He's not trying to run away from the reality. Okay, so let's continue reading the next session of the poem in the next part. Okay, children, thank you.